You simply hold down on the icon and you can drag it down, and you can remove any icon that you have down here. That is the camera that can pop up when you turn the turn signals on, like this. Hi there, and welcome to TechBlower, and welcome to my Tesla Model 3. As you might know, there aren't many buttons in Teslas, and in this Tesla Model 3 there is no exception. So most of the functions are controlled through the big display in the middle of the car. But what are all these controls? So in this video I will just go through step by step, really calmly, what each of them does. But I will of course time code the video so you can just jump to any of the settings or buttons that I've shown in this video. So you don't have to watch the whole thing, but of course if you want to, that's fine as well. So let's dive in. So first, when we look at the screen here, at the top here we can see in what drive mode we are in. So currently I'm in park. And then we see how much kilometers or miles we have left. And if we press that, we can actually see the percentage of the battery left. I usually have it in kilometers. And here we can see if the car is locked or not, what driver profile it's in, and whether Sentry mode is recording currently. Then we have an SOS indication here. It doesn't mean that I'm in an active SOS call. It simply means that I can call SOS and it has connection. Next up is the clock and the temperature, really easy. And then up here in the right corner, we see if the passenger airbag is on or not. And in this case, it's on. And here the little rectangle shows me in what direction the car is headed. And here we have the navigate rectangle. So if I click it, I can easily enter any destination I want to go to. And the car will try to give me the best route to the destination and even suggest where to charge on the way, if needed. And in this menu, you also have home and work. What does that mean? Well, you can pre-configure where your home address and your work address is. So depending on which one you press, you will be directed to your home address or your work address. And here you also have your recents, your favorites, nearby charging locations, and here you will both see superchargers and also other fast chargers, and even slow chargers if you want. So if we go back in, we have something called Hungry, and then the car will search for restaurants close by. And one more thing in the navigation menu, we have Lucky. I've never used it, so let's see what it does. It seems just to be picking some locations around you that you might be interested to look at. So that's it for the navigation. On the left side, you will see all kinds of indications. For example, if you have your auto beams on, if you have your seat belts on, and all kinds of things. Here you also have buttons to open the trunk, and also to lock the car. And in addition, you can open the charge port here. And if you're charging your car, you can even unlock the charge port. And down at the bottom here, you have your controls for the music that you're playing, whether it's the radio, Spotify, or any other media that you can play. If you swipe here, you can see statistics on your current drive, the kilometers you have driven, how long it took, and how much energy it took. And in the middle here, you can see how many kilometers, how many kilowatt hours, and how many kilowatt hours per kilometer in average you've done since the last charge. The last part is the odometer, which simply shows you how long the car has been driven since I bought it. And the last tile here will show you the pressure of each of the tires. And at the moment, my tires are showing 41 psi on all of them. And it will also show you how long ago the pressure was taken. In my case, 20 minutes ago. So let's go back here and we have the radio controls. So let's look at the bottom row here. That's the main row. You can control the volume of the media you're listening to, either by clicking here up and down, or by sliding your finger on the audio icon. Then these three icons are simply the recent three icons that I've been using. In the middle here we have a menu which shows you a lot of apps that the car has. These are a lot of apps, so I'm not going to go through them all now. You, for example, have a view of the cameras that the car has. You have the phone app, the calendar, messages, theater mode, where you, for example, can watch YouTube or Netflix. You have the toy box, which is quite funny. You can do some fart sounds either inside the car or outside the car. And a lot of other things like karaoke, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more. And here is the Sentry Mode view. It sometimes takes a while to load, but this is where you can view the recordings that happen when you're not in the car and something happens around the car. And the next one is the button that I mentioned for the cameras that shows you what is around the car. So the back camera, the left camera and right camera. And here I placed the radio icon so I can open that up and switch stations easily. You can actually control what icons are displayed down here. You simply hold down on the icon and you can drag it down, and you can remove any icon that you have down here. Really easy. Next up is the seat heater, which you can simply press and have it on auto, and then the car tries to estimate what heat do you want on your bum. But you can of course just turn it on manually with 3 heating lines, 2, 1 or nothing. The next one is for your climate, and down here you can see small icons that indicate if you are using the front screen heater or the back screen heater as well. If you click it, you have a big screen of options. You can turn the AC off, you can put it to auto. Here you have the front and back screen heaters. Here you can also turn the AC off. Here you can increase or decrease how strongly the air condition should blow. And this button here is for inside air. So if you have some strong odors outside and you want to shut it out, you simply click it and it will be turned off. Here you also have information about scheduling. So if you have a scheduled heating of your car, maybe when you are scheduling a trip and you want the car to be hot when you come into it. And here you have buttons to control where the air should blow. Should it be on top of you? Should it be in front or at the bottom? And you can actually control how the air should flow on the screen here. You simply use your button and control it like this. You can go up and down, so you can have it as you want. And down here you have the seat heating control, as I've shown you, with a button at the bottom here. And you can put it to auto here as well. You also have heating in the steering wheel. You can press that and enable that. You can also have that on auto just by pressing it like that, and then the heated steering wheel will turn on automatically if the car thinks that it's too cold on the steering wheel. Let's turn that off. On the right side here you have the heated seat for the passenger. And there's one button here which is the rear. And yes, you can control the heated seats in the back as well. And you can have them on full strength or lower the strength. So that's really handy. So now we've gone through all the icons that you can see on the screen except one. It's the car icon. And in there we have a lot of settings. So let's go through it. If you press that, you will see this large menu. The first menu is called Controls, and in that one we have all kinds of controls that Tesla has gathered here, so it's easier to access them. These controls are also in other places, but this is kind of a common area for the most common controls. So the first ones are for the headlights, so you can set them to off, you can set them to park lights, or the main lights, or auto. And the last one here is also if you want to have it on auto headlights or auto high beams. I usually have it like that because now, especially after the latest upgrade, the auto high beams work really well. Here you can control the side mirrors. I can fold them back and I can unfold them if I'm driving into a very tight space, for example. You can put on a child lock, and that means for the passenger airbag. I can lock the window buttons, for example if I have children in the back. That's really handy. Then we have the wiper controls. You can put the wipers to off, you can have them on auto, or you can select any of the speeds that you want here. I usually have it on auto, even though the auto functionality doesn't work well all the time, but it's better than putting the wipers on manually all the time. Then we have some controls for the side mirrors. Here you can adjust the side mirrors, and you simply use the button on the steering wheel, the left one, just up and down to control exactly how you want the side mirrors to be adjusted. And you can adjust the right side mirror, of course, as well. And you can also have the mirrors to auto tilt when you're going in reverse. You can also have them to auto fold when you lock your car. You can also let them auto dim. What that means is if you're driving in a dark area and a car behind you has very bright lights, the side mirrors will auto dim, preventing the car lights behind you to blind you. Next one is controlling whether the recording around the car should be on or off. Here you have a button for car wash mode, which you can use when you're washing your car or going through an automatic car wash. And then, for example, the charge port won't open when you press it, the car won't lock when you walk away, and many more things. Then you have the steering wheel. It's really similar to when you're adjusting the side mirrors. You use your leftmost button on the steering wheel. You simply go up and down to let the steering wheel go up and down. Then you just press the button left or right to adjust how far the steering wheel should be from you. Next up is sentry mode. It simply says, should sentry mode be enabled when you lock the car and walk away. Here you have a button for the glove box. Yes, there's no button to open the glove box, and you can have a pin, as I have on the glove box, if you're storing some valuables there. So you simply press the pin and the glove box opens, and then you can simply close it again. And then the last one here in this screen is the brightness of the screen. You can lower the brightness or increase it, or simply have it on auto, as I have. So that was a lot, but we have more settings to go through. We have the dynamics. We can control how the acceleration of the car is. We can have it on standard, or we can have it on chill. Then you can control the weight of the steering wheel. I usually have it in heavy, but it could be handy when you're parking to have it in light or in standard if you want to have a medium weight of the steering wheel. Then we have the stopping mode, and that simply says what the car should do when you take your foot off the accelerator. In my case, I want the car to stop completely and hold, but you can have it that the car rolls forward, and in the end the car will stop, but it's not driving forward. And then the creep functionality, then the car is actually creeping forward when you release the accelerator and won't stop completely. But I want to have the hold functionality because that really helps with the one pedal driving. Then you have a functionality that you can use in the winter time or when you're stuck somewhere. That's the slip start. So it helps you get loose and tries to control the tires so you get grip. Then you have the trailer mode that you should always use when you have something big hooked up to the trailer hitch. Then we have the charging menu. Here you can control how high of a percentage the car should charge when you plug it in to charge, specifically at home. You can open the charge port here, and you can control the amperage that goes into the charge port. Here you can also schedule the charging as you could in the controls menu, and here you can see what you paid last in the last supercharging session. The next menu is for the Autopilot. I have the Auto Steer Beta, but if you don't have it, you have the Traffic Aware Cruise Control menu. Autopilot activation decides how you activate Autopilot. Either you double pull on the right stalk, or you simply single pull on the right stalk to activate Autopilot. In my case, I usually want to have it as double pull, and for a single pull, it's traffic aware cruise control. Then you have Navigate on Autopilot. That is also part of the enhanced Autopilot package. And here you can simply turn it on and turn it off. Then here you can customize the Navigate on Autopilot, but I've gone through this in another video on the enhanced Autopilot. So let's skip that for now. If we scroll down here, we have more options, and here we have Set Speed. That indicates how the speed should be set when we activate Traffic Aware Cruise Control or Autopilot. Either it just picks the speed limit on the road you're on, or the current speed that you're driving in. I usually have it at speed limit because you might have missed a sign, and it's good that the car just picks the speed limit. Next one is Offset, and here you can select how much over the speed limit or the speed that is set it should be set when you activate Traffic Aware Cruise Control or Autopilot. I usually have it 5 kilometers per hour over the speed limit because that's allowed, but you can also set it as a percentage of the speed that you're in. But let's keep it at fixed, +5. Then we have another feature called Summon, and the Summon feature is also part of the enhanced Autopilot package. And with Summon, you can use your phone to drive the car inside of a tight parking spot, or to let Summon drive to you. But you can configure it a little bit. So if you press Customize Summon, you can control how far away from the bumper objects may be, or also the distance the Summon feature should work in. And we can have the side clearance as standard or tight. You can see that the image changes here. Then we have the standby mode, which is connected to the Summon, and that will simply keep the car more ready to use Summon, but it will take some power because the car is always being ready. So I'll keep it to off. Then we have the speed limit warning. I really want that to be on the display. We can of course have it on off, but we can also have it on the display and ping us when the speed limit signs are changing. But that's too much in my opinion, so I simply have it display on the display. Then we have the speed limit. You can have it set to relative or absolute. I usually have it at relative and with a 0 offset. Then we have all kinds of safety functionalities. We have the forward collision warning. So I can set to have it off, which I don't recommend. We can have it so the car is as late as possible to warn you. We can have it at medium or early. But my experience is if I have it on early, the car is beeping at me for no reason. So I usually have it at late. And the lane departure avoidance is used if you are weaving off the road and the car can assist you, as I have it here, to put the car back on the road. But it can also be set only to be a warning or simply have it off. I would at least recommend to have it at warning, but I have it in assist mode. So if I'm not paying attention and I'm weaving off the road, I really want the car to help here. Then we have a few checks here. We have emergency lane departure avoidance. We have automatic emergency braking. That's really handy when you're using Autopilot. So if some car in front of me brakes really quickly, I of course want my car to react. Then we have obstacle aware acceleration, which can be triggered when you have some obstacles in the road and the car will react to it either by turning away from it or brake. Then we have traffic aware cruise control chime. That's simply a chime when you turn on the traffic aware cruise control. Then we have green traffic light chime. That's really handy because you will get a chime when the traffic lights that you're waiting on turn green. That was it in this screen. Now we have locks. Here you can control the keys that are assigned to the car. You can control the child lock if you want it to be on both sides in the rear, only the left or right side. You can control the window lock as I could in the controls menu. We can have the walk away door lock. So when I walk away from my car, the car will automatically lock itself. That's really handy. And we could have driver door unlock mode. That means that when I approach the car, the only door that unlocks is the driver door. It can be handy in some places, but I usually have it so when I open the car, all the doors open automatically. And then I have the unlock on park set, so when I park the car, all the doors are unlocked. Then we can set notifications if we leave the doors or windows open on the car, and you can of course turn it off or have it only apply to doors, but I usually have it to apply to both doors and windows because I don't want to leave my car with either the doors or windows open. Here you can control the lock confirmation sound. So the car will have a sound when you lock the car, and here it's disabled, and I think it's because I have a custom sound set when I lock the car. And here you have an option to close all the windows when you lock the car. That is also really handy. The next one is all about the lights. Here we get the same headlights menu that we got in the controls. And here we can even control the fog lights for the front and rear. Here we have the auto turn signals. You can have that off or on auto cancel. And when you have the auto cancel on, the car will automatically turn off the turn signals when you're, for example, changing lanes. Here we have the adaptive headlights toggle. And this simply says whether I want to use the adaptive headlights functionality or not. And I already have a video showing you how awesome the adaptive headlights are. Just take a look at it. Then we can decide to have the headlights lit a little bit after I lock the car. So I can simply enable that, but I don't want to have that on. And here we can control whether we want the lights inside the car, the ambient lights, to be on or off. I think it's quite cozy to have them on. Here we can control whether we want the dome lights, the lights in the ceiling, to be on auto, be on. I don't know if you see them turn on now, or if you simply want them to be off. I usually have them on auto. So for example, they turn on when I open the car doors. The last one here is steering wheel lights. So you have these controls on the steering wheel, and on these small arrows here, there are lights, but now in this bright surroundings, I don't know if you see it, but it's really handy to have lights there. The next one is display, and we can decide to have a light display, like it's shown here. I have it on auto, so it will change whether it's day or evening. So if you want to have it in dark, it will be in dark mode. But in auto setting, since it's daylight now, it's in the light mode. We can have the screen to reduce blue light, which is supposed to be better for your eyes. Here we can control the brightness of the screen, as we could in the controls menu as well. We can have it on auto as well. Here we can set the automatic blind spot camera. That is the camera that can pop up when you turn the turn signals on, like this. If we toggle this off and put the turn signal on, you see we don't get the camera here. But I really like to have the automatic blind spot camera. It really helps to see if there are cars coming on the side when I'm changing lanes, for example. Then we have the screen clean mode, and this mode simply turns the screen black and shows all the fingerprints, so it's really easy to clean them. And then you just hold here for 3 seconds and it will exit the screen clean mode. Here we can control what the left scroll wheel should do when you long press it, and I have it to fan speed, but you can choose to have it as wiper speed, display brightness, save dashcam and more. Here we can control the touchscreen language. Currently have it in English because I'm making this video, but usually I have it in my own language, Icelandic. And the voice navigation language is British. I don't have that in Icelandic, so I always keep it in British English. Then you have the regional format or region format. It just formats the dates and time the correct way. And since I'm in Iceland, I have the Icelandic format. Here you can control the text size, either standard or large. You can control the time display, 24 hours or 12-hour display. I usually have it in 24 hours, that's the Icelandic style. Energy display, we can have it as distance, as I usually have it. And if you look up here, if I change it to percentage, it changes to percentage. But as I showed you earlier, you can simply change this here. by clicking the percentage or the kilometers on the screen. Here you can control how the temperature is displayed, whether you want it in Celsius or Fahrenheit, but here in Iceland we use Celsius, so I keep it there. And the tire pressure can be shown either in PSI or bars, but I have the PSI option. Next option is called trips, and that simply shows you an overview of the recent trips that you've had in the car. And here you can see the distance driven, the duration, and the average energy used on the drive. Then it's the navigation. You can decide how loud the navigation voice should be. I usually have it turned off, but here you can turn it on and you can control how loud it is. Here we have automatic navigation. So that means if you have, for example, a calendar event with an address in it, and you are coming into the car right before the event, the car will automatically show that address in the navigation. Next up is Trip Planner, and that simply includes planning of charging stops in navigation. And I always have that on, of course. Then we have online routing. So if you have an address set in the navigation can automatically change the route if there is heavy traffic. So that can be really handy in heavy traffic times. Then we have a small option here for the speed camera chimes, and that has been added quite recently. And that simply gives you an audible chime when there is a speed camera added. Then we can have two toggles, avoid tolls and avoid ferries. So the navigation will avoid these two if you toggle them on. Then we have the safety option. Here we can set if you want the sentry mode to be on or off. I always have it on, and you can decide if you want to exclude some locations, whether it's your home, the work address, or some favorites that you've added to the favorites. And here you can select how long each sentry mode clip should be. I've set it to 5 minutes, but you can decrease it or increase it if you want. We can set if we want camera-based detection. That means if someone walks by the car, the cameras are watching and will record what's happening. We can also have live view camera from the mobile app, so I can open my Tesla app on my phone and look at the camera feed if I think something sketchy is going on. Here we have the dash cam feature, and that is really handy when you're driving and something happens and you want a recording of it. So I have it to activate on honk. So if I honk, I automatically get a recording of what happened. I can have it on auto if the car detects that I'm braking very quickly and there's an emergency braking, then it automatically records what happened. But I can also have it on manual or simply off. Here I can go and delete the dashcam clips. I can also format the USB that is storing the dashcam clips. Here I again have the automatic blind spot camera that I talked about when using the turn signal. Blind spot collision warning. So if I'm changing lanes and there's a car coming beside me, the car will notify me. Here I can allow mobile access, that I have access to my car via the mobile app on my phone. Here I can allow keyless driving and also pin to drive. So if I have pin to drive on, I always have to insert a pin to be able to drive the car. Here I can have the glove box pin on, and as you saw, I have the glove box pin on, and that's simply a toggle, and if you toggle it on, you can select the pin you want to use. Here we can have a speed limit mode. So if someone borrows your car, you can set the speed limit and the car won't go faster than that. Here we have the cabin overheat protection. We can have it on off, no AC, or have it on. Here we have some settings for the passenger front airbag. We can set it to on, or we can have it on off. And here we have all kinds of settings. We have security alarm, so the car will sound alarm if someone is messing with your car. Tilt intrusion, so if the car is tilted, the alarm will also go on. We have park assist chimes, so when you're parking and you're getting quite close to other objects, the car will chime. We have gear chimes. I don't use it, but it will chime every time you switch to either reverse or drive. We have Joe mode. That lowers the warning notifications a little bit, but not much. And here we can power off the car as well. Then we have the service menu. Here we can see the tire pressure of the car. And we have all kinds of buttons here. We have the owner's manual. We have the wiper service mode, which is simply putting the wipers up on the windscreen. So it's easier to access them if you have to change the wiper blades, for example. We have the car wash mode that we have had previously in the controls menu. We can adjust the headlights. And we can have headlights calibration going on here. And we can also just adjust them manually if we want to. We have a towing mode. Here we have the wheel and tire option. Here we can simply say to the car what kind of wheels we have and what kind of tires we are using. So that will help with the estimation of the distance the car can go on one charge. Here we have the button to open the notifications that we can also open up here and close that. Here we have the camera preview button. This option can allow us to see all the cameras inside the car, even the small camera inside the car. So we can simply switch between the different cameras on the screen and see what the car is seeing. We have driver, seat, steering and mirrors calibration. We have factory reset button, clear browsing history and camera calibration. Here at the bottom we also have the phone number for the Tesla roadside assistant here in Iceland. We're almost done. Next one is the software update. Here you can go if you want to check if there are software updates for the car. You also have the model of the car, how far we have driven the car, and here we can change the name of the car. My car is called the Cookie Monster since it's blue, and we can change how the car is displayed on the screen. We can change the car color, but I really like the blue color that I have here. We have the additional vehicle information where we have what kind of audio system I have, how kind of cabin heater I have, the heat pump, what kind of processor I have. I have the Intel Atom processor since it's a 2021 car, and more information. And down here, if we have some software updates, we have a slider here that is downloading the update, or an install button to install the update. And we can click here for the latest release notes, and we also can update the navigation data from this screen. We can set to have the software update preferences to advanced or standard. If you have the advanced option, you more frequently get updates to the car. And here are some privacy settings, whether we want to share data with Tesla, whether we want the cabin camera to be turned on, and whether we want to share our location in the car. And down here we have the Wi-Fi settings. So if I would have a Wi-Fi nearby, those would pop up here and I can press them and log into them. Then we have the Bluetooth settings, which are just other phones that I can connect to the car or my own phone. So I can use it to play music or have some connections to the car like the calendar. And down here we have the upgrade button, which can be used to upgrade tools, like there is some acceleration upgrade that you can get to the car, but those all cost something. But at the moment it says that there are no upgrades available. Not sure about that. I should have access to the acceleration update, but it's not showing up here. And up here you also have quick access to the Wi-Fi settings, Bluetooth and the notifications. And this one also gives you access to the different driving profiles. And you can restore the driving profile if you've been messing around with it. You also have here valet mode, that is really a restrictive mode for the car. So I think I covered all the buttons and all the settings in the menus on the Tesla screen. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you learned something new about your car. If you, for example, own a Tesla Model 3 or Tesla Model Y, they're quite similar in regards to the screen. If you enjoyed this video, take a look at the other videos I have on my channel. And please consider subscribing to my channel because it really helps my channel grow. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. See you in my next video.